Hi everybody, Dan Illman along with Matt Bernier. The DRFBets Friday race of the day for August the 24th. Race number 3 at Saratoga. It's New York Bread Day, and the feature is the Albany. $250,000 is the purse. You can bet this card with the new DRFBets account. Sign up at drf.com/bet. Get 10 times the bonus. You bet 20, you get 200. Here's the field for the Albany. 3-year-olds going 9 furlongs. It's a demanding distance for many of these horses. You can download free formulator past performances for the Albany on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, beginning with the number 1 Evaluator, a stakes winner on dirt last year, and I think a horse that's slowly rounding into form.
It's kind of the way it looks, isn't it? I mean, he came back with that big effort most recently, and that was his first start off of a little bit of a layoff. We hadn't seen him since mid-May. He comes up to the spa, and I know it was a sloppy sealed racing surface, but came with a nice finish there. I think really the question boils down to price for him, as well as do you think he's going to get the pace that he needs in order to accentuate that late kick?
And that is true. He does need pace. Now, he did not break in his most recent start as the only 3-year-old in a field of 5. He did come with a good solid run to finish second, well clear of the third-place horse. I thought that was a good performance, again, as the only 3-year-old in that race. It's interesting to note that his 2 races with blinkers were just terrible. And I know one was against the Wood and he was probably overmatched. You take those races out of the PPs, all of his dirt lines are good. As you say, he's going to need a little bit of pace. The 2 Singapore Trader might be one of the horses to provide some pace. He's stretching out for Todd Pletcher off of a maiden win. It's been a positive move for Todd over the years, according to this formulator fact. Over the past 4 years, 3-year-old last out maiden winners making their second start off a layoff and stretching out from sprint to route, 44%, 384 ROI. But don't you get the feeling Todd's just kind of taking a shot here?
Yeah, I have a hard time getting a read for this horse because they had to drop down to the $40,000 maiden claiming level for him to finally break through. It was washed off the turf. Todd had him on the turf all along. He's a son of Flatter. We know the Flatters can't stand up on grass. To me, there's really not a lot positive to say about him other than you've got that positive formulator fact. And at the end of the day, throw out Pletcher and Velasquez at Saratoga at your own risk. I don't like him, but I can understand if you want to just take a flyer.
He will be a price, 10-1 on the morning line, but boy, that race last time out, intensely speed favoring sloppy, good racetrack, and again had to drop down to the $40,000 tag. The 3 Bad Guy, well, he's 0 for 15 lifetime, trying to go turf to dirt, and listen, I'm not sure where the improvement's coming from, but he's going to have to improve in start number 16. If he couldn't beat maidens, how's he beating this field?
I think he's the kind of horse that would appreciate a just ballistic pace up front. I think they'd take him back, try to make one run. At best, to me, you're best using him underneath at a big number.
And I think the connections are going to say, look, he likes a mile and an eighth. He likes a distance of ground. He's probably going to be outrun in the early portion of this race, but maybe if the pace is hot, you know he'll at least be running a little bit at the end, but he is going to have to improve by leaps and bounds. Pletcher also has the number 4 Speak, and if you like the Timeform US pace ratings, they were color-coded red for his most recent start off a little bit of a layoff at this distance at Saratoga, a race in which he chased an older horse, JJ's Dreaming, and he tried hard to finish second. I like that Todd's putting blinkers on this horse because there are times during his races where he seems a little bit unfocused and he seems to run only in spots.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a positive. If you think there's going to be a forward move here with this horse being a little bit sharper and a little bit more focused, he really hasn't run a poor race in his life with the exception of the career debut. I won't hold that against him. These last 4 races, they've all been solid. And sure, he was 8 lengths back of JJ's Dreaming, but at the end of the day, first start off a little bit of a layoff, taking on older horses. I think there's a lot to like here about this horse. To me, of the Pletchers, this is the one that you would want.
Another thing to like about him is the Timeform US Pace Projector, which has Speak out there on a fairly clear early lead, and I do think a mile and an eighth is within his scope. The blinkers on should have him sharp, and we'll see if he can take this field gate to wire at 3-1 on the morning line. The 5 is Spectacular Kid, runner-up last time in the New York Derby. He chased Sea Foam, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, in vain that day. I thought that was probably the best that Spectacular Kid can do. Maybe he rates a little bit. Maybe he's actually a little bit more aggressively ridden. It's nice to know he has some tactical speed. I'm just not sure about a mile and an eighth.
No, I agree, and I kind of look at that New York Derby and say it was a bang-up effort. He went out there at 13-1, got a big piece of the whole thing. I kind of agree with you, though. You look and see what he's done recently. He's in that mid to high 70 range. I can't imagine you're going to get a forward move, and you've got to go an extra 16th of a mile. To me, none of that adds up to a victory.
Analyze the odds might have been compromised the most by a moderate pace in the New York Derby. You can read those fractions, 24-3, 49-1. And I think he was a little bit too confidently ridden that day by Junior Alvarado on the outside, and he failed to make up ground in the lane. This is a horse that I've always thought was sort of a closing sprinter miler type, and a mile and an eighth does worry me, although it seems Jason Service can do anything.
I was going to say throw Service out at your own sort of cause and peril as well, but I agree with you. I kind of look at this horse and say best suited going shorter. He really hasn't done much as far as these longer distances are concerned. I know he's a winner at a one-turn mile, but that was a while ago, and that was when he was in Pletcher's barn. To me, this is a horse that's still better going one turn.
We're going to take a look at our top selections for Friday's DRFBets race of the day. You like the New York Derby winner, the number 7 Seafoam. This is a horse that is certainly bred to appreciate the distance. He handled his two-turn debut with no sweat last time out, although I thought he got a great ride from that local jockey, getting away with an easy pace, and this horse was a little green in the stretch.
Yeah, he certainly was, and I wonder if that was a combination of things. Really, that was his first time going 2 turns. I know he had run in that turf race 2 back, but that's a one-turn mile-ish at Belmont Park. This is the kind of thing where I think the horse needed a little bit of experience going the 2 turns. He did. Got a beautiful ride and got a great pace situation, and he's unlikely to get that here on Friday afternoon. I think the difference is he's shown that he can sit and make up ground and pass horses, breaking from the outside. Let that speed go down to the inside. Let the Pletcher horse go. Park just off of his flank and try to take this thing over, because you know what? You're probably better off at this distance than most of the horses in here. He's not going to be any sort of a price, but I do think he's the most likely winner.
Give me numbers.
I'm going to go 7, 4, 1, and 5.
I'm hoping that at some point on the turn in this 9-furlong test, Speak and Seafoam hook up and they get into a prolonged battle, maybe setting things up for a closer like Evaluator. I liked his last race. He's now back in with straight 3-year-olds for a second off the layoff. I go 1-4-7-2 in the $250,000 Albany Stakes at the Spa on Friday. Sign up for a new DRFBets account. Get 10 times the bonus. Bet 20, get 200. DRF.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Albany. Race number Treese at the Spa on Friday, 2:10 Eastern. Best of luck.